overnight Russian drone and missile attacks hit Ukraine's energy grid.
PM. International integration is the driving force that will lead Vietnam into a new era.
Young people are increasingly falling in love with the traditional Vietnamese ao dai.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news. I'm Nghe An, and here we go, the first step of the show. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that Russia launched another large-scale attack on Ukraine overnight on Tuesday, targeting its energy grid and killing at least 4 people.
Accordingly, Russia fired almost 300 drones, 18 ballistic missiles, and 7 cruise missiles at 8 regions overnight. This is one of the largest airstrikes since the beginning of the new year on Ukrainian cities, killing at least 4 people and leaving thousands without electricity and heating in the freezing winter. The attack also created a risk of food shortages as many supermarkets were forced to close. The Ukrainian Energy Agency said power outages are affecting the capital Kyiv and the provinces of Chernihiv, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, Zhytomyr, Kharkiv, and Donetsk.
South Korea's special prosecutor has requested the death penalty for former President Yoon Suk-yeol on charges of masterminding an insurrection over his brief imposition of martial law in December 2024. The request was made at Yoon Suk-yeol's final trial at the Seoul Central District Court.
The special prosecution team asserted that former President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law to prolong his rule by seizing control of the judicial system and the National Assembly. The case is considered particularly serious because the defendant mobilized armed resources that were only permitted for use in the common good of the nation. Yoon Suk-yeol became the first sitting president in South Korean history to be prosecuted on additional charges related to the imposition of martial law. The court is expected to deliver its verdict on former President Yoon Suk-yeol's case in early February.
On the morning of January 14th, the Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính just chaired an online conference to summarize the work of 2025 and implement the task for 2026 at the National Steering Committee on International Integration.
Reporting at the meeting, the leaders of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the issuance of Politburo Resolution number 59 on international integration in the new situation is a breakthrough decision, marking a historic turning point in Vietnam's integration process, positioning international integration as an important driving force to usher Vietnam into a new era. Following the directives of the government and central ministries and agencies, Nghệ An province has promptly and fully implemented the plans of the Provincial Party Committee and the Provincial People's Committee to seriously and effectively implement government resolutions number 59 and number 153, thereby creating an important foundation for international integration and attracting external resources to serve development. Concluding the conference, the Prime Minister requests that ministries, sectors, and localities, based on their functions and responsibilities, proactively and actively implement international integration tasks, enhancing depth and breadth. In accordance with their capabilities, the general trends of the times, the party's guidelines and policies, and the state's management.
Upcoming are some updated news.
The European Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam, EuroCham, announced that its Business Confidence Index, BCI, for the fourth quarter of 2025 reached 80 points, the highest level in the past 7 years. This result reflects a clear and sustainable recovery of confidence among the European business community amidst ongoing global economic uncertainties. The survey shows that in the fourth quarter of 2025, 65% of businesses assessed their current business situation as positive. Up to 60% of businesses reported improved business results compared to 2024, and 82% expect growth in 2026. Notably, over 88% of businesses expressed optimism about Vietnam's prospects for the 2026-2030 period. According to EuroCham, Vietnam is gradually asserting its role as an important growth engine in the ASEAN region.
In 2025, Nghệ An's industrial sector recorded impressive growth, ranking among the localities with the highest industrial production index (IIP) growth rates in the country. This result stems from a strong recovery in domestic consumption, coupled with favorable export conditions in many key markets. According to data from the General Statistics Office, in 2025, Nghệ An's IIP increased by 16.5%, ranking 4th nationwide and continuing to be among the top 10 localities for industrial growth. Key sectors such as processing and manufacturing, construction materials, and food and beverages maintained steady growth momentum. In December alone, the IIP rose by nearly 18% year-on-year, demonstrating strong resilience at the year's end. Many major industrial products saw significant increases, including electronic equipment, yarn, commercial electricity, and cement.
Last night, in the third match of Group A at the 2026 AFC U23 Asian Cup, U23 Vietnam created a massive shockwave by defeating the powerhouse hosts, U23 Saudi Arabia. With this victory, Vietnam advances to the quarterfinals as Group A leaders with a perfect record of 3 wins. In this match, the tactical brilliance of coach Kim Sang-sik was on full display. He boldly fielded a starting lineup of players who had not yet featured in the tournament, with the strategic goal of wearing down the opponent's stamina. With a 1-0 victory over the hosts, for the first time in history at an AFC U23 Asian Cup final, U23 Vietnam has won all 3 group stage matches, securing a perfect 9 points. They are now ready for the quarterfinals, where they will face either Syria or the UAE.
The Lunar New Year is approaching. This year, the trend of wearing outside for Tet photo shoots is spreading everywhere, from social media to cafes and popular check-in spots. Not only during Tet, but also in many recent festivals, the image of outside has appeared more frequently, showing that the youth are developing a special affection for this traditional attire. More in the story today.
Recently, young people have increasingly chosen the áo dài for meaningful occasions. Dressed in graceful áo dài with various accessories and seeking out spaces imbued with traditional colors, the youth view this as a way to preserve beautiful moments. As a Vietnamese woman, I highly value gentle beauty. I am very fond of áo dài designs that are deeply traditional when choosing my outfits for festive occasions. The áo dài, a traditional costume that has been intertwined with the Vietnamese people for generations, is now being embraced by the youth, who breathe new life into it through their own creative touch.
Young people are increasingly focusing on and respecting the historical identity of our ancestors. This shows a connection between tradition and modernity, becoming a trend that creates new, innovative elements while remaining deeply rooted in national culture.
Associating one's image with the áo dài is more than just a trend. It is a positive signal from the younger generation, contributing to the preservation and promotion of cultural and traditional images.
First time in Vietnam, so I see many people wear girls, mostly girls, they wear áo dài. So it look like similar Indian dress, and they look beautiful in áo dài. So I feel good when they celebrate some. They are beautiful and they look beautiful in áo dài.
Wearing our national costume is a matter of self-esteem and pride. It's a small way to spread the traditional essence of the Vietnamese áo dài on social media, so international friends can think, oh wow, the Vietnamese áo dài is so beautiful.
Loving the áo dài is also loving Vietnamese cultural traditions and identity. By keeping the traditional soul alive while embracing the creative spirit of the youth, the áo dài is entering modern life naturally and vibrantly. Thus, the áo dài does not only belong to the past, but continues to accompany life today.
The last story just ended our news today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now.